I'm so glad to present as our feature for the evening Wendy Wolters, a poet with a beautifully positive voice, unique in the poetry scene. She's a local poet who is often inspired by connections between the outer world and an inner realm of ideas, imagination, and possibility. She writes about the wonderment instilled by nature's presence, experiencing everyday life through new eyes, heart centered questions, healing, and the universal quest for courage and compassion within the human spirit. Wendy has read at various local open mics, has featured at Sacred Grounds, La Promenade, Flores in Pacifica, at the Alameda Island Poets, and in a poetry podcast produced by John Rhodes and hosted by Clara Sue. Her work has been published in an online zine produced by Richard and Natalie Champion, an anthology edited by Maggie Ullman Shannon, the SF Street Sheet, and she assisted on a CD of poetry by Clara Sue. A wonderful, wonderful voice. She has meaning and movement and deep appreciation for everything we are. So I'm going to mute me, and Wendy, the mic is now to you.
Thank you. That was a beautiful introduction. And thank you all for being here. And those who couldn't be here that are here in spirit. I just want to start with a little quote that a neighbor said to me. He was going through a hard time and he really liked this. It really helped him. When you follow a light into the darkness, you will end up on a path into darkness. But when you are the light, that light will be your path. So I want to start with, today's reading is going to be mostly a retrospective of some of favorite poems over the years and one or two new ones. I want to start with a poem about gratitude. This particular poem is about the elements of life that fill everything. And I also like that in Native American tradition, there's always turning to the different directions and revering and honoring the elements and all the different spiritual qualities of life. It's called Gratitude Prayer of the Elements. Thank you, Earth, for the fixedness of form, the stability of embodiment. With you, Earth, I steadfastly stand in my humanity. Thank you, Water, for movement and change, dissolution and purification. With you, Water, I open my heart to the creative flow of healing. Thank you, Fire, for creation of energy, the power of transformation. With you, Fire, I create my path, expressing who I am from my deepest desires. Thank you, Air, for the space around things and the space within things, responsive to all that is manifest. With you, Air, I notice the life behind all things and choose my way of harmony. Thank you, Ether, whatever you are, wherever you are, subtle organizer of substance, space separating all matter. Of all this, I am made. Of all this, we are made. And to the element of water, which is, I kind of lean toward, I love water, very healing to me. This is called Once a Drop. Blue, blue earth, floating along in space, swathed in mighty oceans blue for miles, not only blue from far away seen, but buried long, long ago, blue, blue water hidden inside special rock, ringwoodite rock, distant from the surface of blue, blue earth. Water of life, life-giving water of living things, water all around, a world of ocean, blue above, a world of blue below, blue, blue earth floating along. Once a drop, a tiny drop, wonder of water, life-giving water, arising, arising from ground below, subterraneous, rising from deep below, water of life of all living things. A spring becomes a stream, becomes a river, seeping spring of moisture, flowing, falling, cascading into streams and rivers, a tiny drop, drip, drip, dropping as it tumbles from heights along earth's thirsty byways, carving out the land. Water, so generous in its coming, once a tiny drop, now a coursing, mighty, life-giving, water-giving source. Source. A source. Making Thanksgiving for a better world. The day of giving thanks in childhood, not marked by grateful powwows of native celebration for all things good received, but yearly road trips destined for family gatherings, where round a decorated table with every type of food called in by the occasion, a feast before our lit-up senses beckoned mutually eager anticipation, and crowded halls teeming with conversation gravitated in unison to the coveted place of much too rich imbibing. As a child, I loved how we passed the time traveling up the coast by car, the road trip games we played to make the trip less boring, games that kept us content and uncomplaining, and then the joyful relief of arriving at last to smiles and greetings at the door. But now I know Thanksgiving's bittersweet true meaning, a blend of glad appreciation for blessings that abound, mixed with sorrow for natives' plight through pioneer betrayal, a history that bears the truth to those who've cared to listen, who know by now what happened to that first auspicious purpose. So I celebrate the gifts of life freely given to me, enjoying bonds of friendship that sing praises for community, while I say a prayer with heartfelt awe for those who did no wrong, natives' courage and love that helped a band of hungry settlers deep in need, whose mistaken fear led them to turn upon the very ones who saved them from starvation's door. Thanksgiving legacy, I know you. Joy and gratitude for abundance supplied, mixed with sadness too, in a world teeming with danger, a world brimming with fear, anger and hostility seeming always to be near. Still, I offer gratitude, give thanks for positives here. Each day may be just a moment in all eternity. But may we come to see how in each time changes happen as silently evolution creeps towards someday where all are included and free. How do we hold it all? Somewhere, gentle love receives a baby, newly born, young eyes and ears, a brand new slate. What will she see? What will he hear? A world of beauty, a world of grace, or ugly greed and hatred's lies? Ugly greed and hatred's lies in places where bombs fall from terror skies, in places where people lack power to thrive, where it is rare to eat an adequate meal or sleep in a bed with a roof over one's head. How do we hold it all, aware of these differences around the globe, from wonders sublime that raise hearts high to the cruelty of indifference that shocks the soul, a fresh new life with hope ahead, others cut short or haunted by dread? Somewhere a village comes to be. People build houses, grow food, and sing. Art is created on every street, and millions of trees are planted in a day. Hundreds of thousands care for the earth while climate careens with change. While climate careens with change on the earth, fires wreak havoc through miles of land. Whole towns are destroyed by water and wind, and families by guns from without and within. Yet somewhere else, somehow, some way, kindness reigns and hope shines its ray, where children in hospitals laying in beds receive comforting cards on Valentine's Day, and in another city that decides to show care, parking meters play unusual roles, helping end homelessness as their goal. Positives and negatives, side by side, reveal the heart's wound of disbelief, the mind uplifted or horrified as well, light and dark, reflecting all that is. How do we accept such disparities? Keep our hearts open, keep our faith strong. We love and fear and wonder what will be. How do we hold it all? It takes an effort in this day and age to find good news, hidden often as it is. May we find the balance. May we see the truth and always find something to soothe the pain of any soul, something to love beyond the hand of fear, something useful to build solutions and hope, and something to someday or now be glad for. Bigger than suffering. The human spirit is bigger than suffering, big enough to transmute despair into hope, big enough to bring out from under the chains of fear the freedoms of love, big enough to rise beyond anger to discern needed wisdom. The human spirit is capable of more than the mind can conceive, more than the heart can bear, more than mere will can achieve. It is stronger than steel or fire, stronger than illusions of control, stronger than the pull of attachment and aversion. The human spirit gives life to the truth, wherever and whenever the limiting expressions of human nature call out for its timeless proclamation. See where I am. Peace is remembering all the faces of love. Peace is not the absence of something we hate or fear, not forgetting our pain or our neighbor's trouble. Peace is remembering all the faces of love, being born and reborn in endless ways, knowing what's true, what's happening in the world and within one's own soul. Peace is taking one step in love's direction. It is shaking up, shaking off our chains while helping others break theirs. Peace is the understanding of a person who's long traveled life's glories and tragedies and sees the bigger picture as much as the innocence of a newborn, not yet touched by the riveting new reality about to burst forth. Peace is a warm light of caring, soaring above all else, to loved ones seeking their own peace, like a friend in need, surrounded by a circle of friendship that knows what love is. Let not our deepest desires be forgotten. Inside us, from the beginning, with us all the way, yet buried long by intellect's clamor, remember, lest we lose our compass, The heart knows the soul's foe. Let not our deepest desires be forgotten, for in them lie a world that points to who we are and yet might be. A world that thrives, clear and strong, not a passing of whims, not unknowing lies, never ceasing to burn in our heart, but swelling inside. Why, merely to think of this radiant wish makes all else pale before it and renders us breathless, ambitious with love. Let not what matters most to that compass true within be lost to useless thought and idle talk, or be squandered or to squandered time in circular fear, or to energy sapped in furious wrath, leading to loss of faith, always whispering its name, the profound, unique wish we each bear, inscribed at the seat of memory's noblest part, beating in the transcendent place that knows our most cherished desire, never ceasing to burn, but swelling inside, the thing we want dearly from who we are, this longing that pulls us to what we might be, this radiant wish beyond intellect's clamor that makes all else pale before it and renders us breathless, ambitious with love. In the middle of darkness, a still small light is shining. It is faint at the distance, far away. It is patiently waiting, joyfully anticipating my return. Weary of separation, weary from wandering, the hypnotic web of resistance bursts its own compelling skin of death, and I can see again. The tiny shimmering light is smiling at my foibles and every foolishness, brushing aside the past, waving off the future. I begin the necessary journey of allowing, accepting, forgiving, grateful. Why wait another moment when I could fall awake now? Okay, check my time. Okay. Um, I've been sometimes writing poems about memories writing growing up, and this is a new poem I wrote about one of my grandfathers. Papa. When I was growing up, one of my grandfathers visited our family a few times. Two memories have stood out to me, which remind me of the very special bond we had with him. On one occasion, when I was about 9, despite a feisty disagreement my brother and I had with him, the circumstance could not hold a candle to the mutual love we all shared. On this particular visit, Papa took my siblings and I out for a ride to a carousel at the nearby park. We could see the happiness he felt being with us and providing an experience we thoroughly enjoyed. On the way home, he took the whole group out for ice cream. While working our way through the treats, each of us began exclaiming with intense enthusiasm, "I love ice cream!" Papa surprisingly responded with a chuckle of polite disapproval. He promptly informed everyone that you cannot love an inanimate object. You can only love people and animals. This did not make any sense to the one-pointed minds thrilled by the pleasure of such sweet, smooth, delicious, icy cold delights, and with firm conviction we emphatically replied, "No, Papa, we love ice cream," to which he repeatedly attempted, in the back-and-forth dispute, to persuade us otherwise. Ultimately, Papa's efforts to change our outlook failed mightily. On another occasion, Papa found himself in a hugely embarrassing situation, which my siblings and I met with strong reassurance, telling him that despite the almost disastrous oversight, it was really an astounding miracle that nothing consequential had happened, which almost certainly could have. He had volunteered to take us with him on a shopping trip for groceries, and after obtaining the needed items and proceeding to load the groceries in the car, got distracted from the packing in phase, and began to drive us home. Suddenly, he called out, "Uh-oh, the milk!" pointing to the car's ceiling in shock and dismay. Papa had forgotten to retrieve the gallon of milk he had momentarily placed on the roof as he handed us the other bags. The mortified look on his face told 1,000 words, and not a peep more could he say, so uncomfortable was he in the midst of realizing his mistake. Immediately, with steady wisdom, he steered the car to the shoulder of the road, carefully driving as smoothly as possible in the hope that the carton hadn't fallen off yet. When he stopped the car, we all took a deep breath, and Papa stepped out to face the feared possibility. We waited with bated breath, nervous for the plight of the milk, and no less for Papa's feelings. When he plopped back into his seat, Papa's expression and quick sigh revealed immense relief. Somehow, the carton of milk had survived and not moved from its precarious place on the roof. Papa and we, puzzled and surprised over the outcomes, agreed this had to be too hard to explain, let alone to tell Mom about such a near scrape of awkward misadventure. True story.
Unmute, ladies and gentlemen, and
Thank you for listening.
Yay! Beautiful reading, Wendy.
Oh, thank you all.
all right, great set. I love that.